Hi guys, and welcome back here to the Dev Realm, and today we carry on our MMO series. And if you guys remember, what we did in the last episode here is that we created the save game, and you can go and create a new character. You can change his colors and everything. You can type all the data, and I'm just gonna put yellow, and we're gonna press save. Character created, and now we have that data added right here. Now, so what I would like to do here today is that I want to handle the functions to edit and delete. And then the play, we're going to do that later on. Right, so without spending too much time with this, what we are going to do here is that on the main menu widget, when you load the data, we create, if you guys remember, that widget right here, the one that displays no, this is the one to display the alert, is this one here. When we load the character information, it loads up this here. If you guys remember, we have added events to handle the play, edit and delete, right? So what I can do here is that I can close that. I can close this one here. When I open up the character list here, right, I would like to go back to my main menu, and here I need to bind events, right? So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to leave this slot count. Actually, I'm going to put this slot count right here. But what I want to do here is that I want to basically handle those events right now. One thing I forgot here to do is that, let me just create that, close that. On the character list, when you press on the event, I would like to send our player save game information, right? And the reason why I'm doing this is because we already have that instance created, and we just need to basically send that back to the event saying, look, I want to delete, here's the save, you do what you have to do, right? So I could do the delete here, but I feel like this is not the right place to do it. The only thing we need to adapt here on this event character list action is that we need a new parameter, and it's going to be the save game. And this one is going to be pp main player save. Compile this and save. We're gonna drag this one right here, drag this one right there, and drag this one right here. So we have delete, we have edit, and we have play. Now I can align everything, and I can compile and save here. Now we can create those events. So here I can bind ev. This is gonna be handle character list action, right? It's going to plug in that one here. And now what we can do here is that we can create an event. We can create a custom event. And we can call this API handle slot action, right? And this is going to be, let me type that. So it's going to be handle slot action. Here we're going to do a good and old switch case. And that's pretty much everything that we need to do right here. Right. One thing that I also would like to do here is that I think we're gonna need the reference for the widget to delete the action comes from. The reason why is because I don't really want to be reloading all this data again. The only way you reload all the saves is that if you get to the page on page load. But the only way you get to that is when you create or when it comes from the login screen to here. So what I want to do here is that I want to pass my widget reference on this handle event here. So I'm going to go back to my event here again. I'm going to pass another parameter called the widget ref. And here it's going to be basically self. In this case, I don't have, but it's going to be WBP character list object reference. You're going to compile and save that. And here we're gonna put self, right? Because we're gonna send himself as a reference, so we don't have to be, having to select this thing multiple times. Now, the next thing I want to do here is that when we delete, what I would like to do here is that I want to basically search for, I think it's called save or save game. Let's see. We want to delete save game in slot. We need the slot name, right? There is a problem because actually there's no problem because we have the player get save get slot. Now we don't have the slot name. This is a little bit of a problem because right now we do not have the slot name that this save belongs to. We simply don't know. We could kind of get from, what we could do here is that we are loading up. Okay. There's an easy way we can actually do that. Very easy way. Right. Instead of having to going back to the saves and putting the slot that thing belongs to, we just want to delete. We don't want to do anything special. We just want to delete this save and maybe edit. But what we can do here, guys, is that on the widget, we can also create a new variable here called the slot name, right? This is going to be a string. Make sure that's public and you expose that on spawn, all right? Now, before we leave this, we also need to send the slot name back. So it's going to be the slot name. And now this is going to be a string. And now all you're going to do here is that we need just to pass this data back. Now here, and put it right there. Now, cool. Now, the good thing with this is that will allow us to send it back our slot name back to our event. And now we can use that to delete our save game when we press the action because we already have everything registered. So now what we're doing here is that we are gonna just, when we press delete, we're gonna delete the save in slot. We already have the slot name because we're passing it as a parameter. Actually, we are not. That's a good point. We need to pass the slot name here. And I'm just gonna put it right here. Now, what we need to do is that we need to basically, this will tell us if it has been deleted or not. Well, in our case, we don't care about that if it's been confirmed because we're just going to get a reference of the widget and we're going to call destroy, or in this case, remove from parent, right? And what that in essence does is just is going to delete our widget. So if I press play here, and now I go back to, let's say that the yellow, I press delete that, and delete this one, and that basically will carry on and delete everything. Now, we do have a problem because when we delete this asset, we should be updating our slot count. So what I could do here is that, or we could basically force this thing to reload properly, or we could properly update the slot count. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to worry about this bug later on. All right, so I was just thinking about a way we could figure out this proper slot count here. So we can do this in a different way, right? So because the problem that we have is that if you created a new character, right, and press save, goes back, new character, press save, and then you go back. Now, if I delete this middle one, I'm going to be left with the second one. But when I press a new character, it won't have the right slot number. So what I mean is that I don't have the right ID of the slot. I don't know which one is the right slot because I am doing procedurally. I'm doing in an order. So the best way I could think of doing this, since it runs locally, we can basically do a for each loop and basically say, does this slot exist? Does this slot exist? Blah, blah. the slot that doesn't exist, that's not beyond 10, we can basically trigger that thing to create. Otherwise, we throw error or something. So to do that, it's very easy. So instead of doing this slot count here, I'm going to delete it. All right. I'm not going to worry about this. And I'm going to copy this logic here. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to right click here. I'm going to create something that we call a macro, because I'm going to reuse this function multiple times. And this is going to be save game prefix. And I am just going to call here the slot, right? And that's all we did here. It's just we created slot. And if you guys don't know what a slot is, it's just a way to create reusable functions. The difference is when you could create this as a function, or you can create this as a slot or as a macro. It doesn't matter. I just prefer to create this thing as a macro because I'm only using inside here. But you could totally create that as a function or even as a global function. It doesn't matter. For this purpose, it doesn't matter. The important thing is that we don't copy and paste this. But anyway, now I'm going to copy these two here, and I'm going to copy actually up to this point here. All right. I could create a copy and create like some kind of a, for each loop or whatever. But let's just leave this one for now. Let's just copy and paste it. Now, this part here, I'm going to just leave it on the side for now. And this is going to be basically load the game instance editor player. And now I can paste that code here, right? And I'm going to put it right there. Now, what I want to do here is that I want to load things when the save does not exist, when this returns false. Because that means that we are playing up with a file system or a save game that doesn't exist. So if I press play here, now if I press new, that is, it should be the first one. Actually, we need to do, I forgot about this. We need to do a for loop with break. And break means that we'll only loop until what we're looking for, and then it will break. So in our case, we're going to do that. We're going to do the loop body. And then when this is false, we're going to break the loop, and we're going to print the latest index that we have here. And we're just going to plug this one there. We're going to put the index right here. And it's already become a little bit of a spaghetti code, but we're going to fix that in a sec. So now you say 10, right? So you say that the 10th slot doesn't exist. It's because I need to put 10 here. Sorry. There we go. Oh, sorry. My bad. I started from 1 here. Now we should have number 2. Exactly. That's the number 1 that we're looking for. If I deleted the number 1, it should say number 1. All right. And let's now clean up this mess here a little bit. So just organize this here. Let's give this loop a little bit of more, let's say, space here. Right. And basically, this is going to be impossible to loop from that. But what we're going to do here, I'm going to just put this one here. And I'm going to create here a new variable called valid slot, right? And this slot, it's going to start his value of 0. And it's going to be an integer value. And if that happened on the false, this is going to get the index value here, all right? The reason why I have to create this variable is that because if I added that from, if I just drag it from straight away here to the break-in to the complete, it may happen is that you already have 10 characters. And if you have 10 characters, you can't really create new characters, so you have to delete one in order to do that. All right. So it's a very simple logic, but it's going to be very like effective to control these characters for us. Now I'm going to create here a branch, and now I'm going to get the valid slot. And if it's greater than, let's say, 0, then it's valid. Else means that we're going to create a print, and we're going to say, you have to delete a character, right? But everything's fine, everything's great. Now, if this is the case, everything is valid, then we're gonna just bring this code back here, right? I'm gonna bring this code right there. And I think this slot count, let me just find references. I don't know, I do not need this slot count anymore. I'm just gonna keep the valid slot. I'm gonna plug it right here, all right? Now, one thing, guys, that we could maybe change here on our widget is just for debug, all right? Just so while we can properly see if this is working properly, is that when we set the title here, we're just gonna basically do to string, we're gonna append, and we're gonna append this, and we're just gonna put it right there. I just want to show you this slot. Oh, that didn't. I know why that didn't work. Let me just delete this here. That didn't work because it needs to be done here. What I want to do here is that I want to make sure that when we set the title, we include the string. So I'm going to put it here, put this as the output. There you go. So we go on. Oh, the framework. I can't really see it, but anyway, let's just assume that this is right. I just wanted to do this as a debug, but anyway, it doesn't matter for us too much. Nice. What happened now is that we can delete this character. You can press new. And this is going to be, let's say, Mario 1. And that's created. And I'm going to go and try test 02. And I can go here and put test 03. And I'm going to put here another one. It doesn't matter. Right. Now we know this is 1, 2, and 3, and then I have 4. Now, if I delete number 2, when I press character, and I could just tell, like, I don't know, I'm just going to put a random name, press save. That should show up on the second slot. And that's because now it's taking consideration in the loop. Like, okay, slot 1 exists, slot 2 doesn't exist. Okay, that's the slot I have to create. So it fulfilled the gap, right? We could, like, reorder all this array, but to be honest, who cares, right? It doesn't matter. It's just a question of, like, okay, it's just, is there, the player doesn't matter. It doesn't care about this stuff. Anyway, now that we have done this stuff, we are successfully created the edit function. Now, what I would like to do here for our next lesson is that I would like to create a confirmation model. When you press delete, I would like to create a model saying, are you sure you want to delete this character? It would have this consequence, blah, 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 blah. Because what happens if the user pressed by mistake? You don't want to have that problem. So once again, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I see you in the next lesson.